Welcome to the Blessed Mindset Matters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Raquel Tolson. And you guys know I am here to help you to understand that being blessed is all about a mindset. It's not about who you have, what you have in your life. It's about your daily decision to be blessed. We are here on WYTV7, and here we have a mission to empower, encourage, and educate. If you want to be a guest, please reach out to me at www.raqueltolson.com or at wytv7.org and let us know that you would like to be a guest because you know that is about your mindset that makes you blessed. Also, if you are enjoying the Blessed podcast, I need you to go to www.wytv7.org and hit the donate button. Every donation helps. It helps to keep us on air, Blessed, and all the other podcasts, and it helps us send kids to school, and we help feed families. So go hit the donate button. This week, you guys know it's still Raytober, but you know what's really been going on, in my opinion, and we haven't really been hearing as much about COVID. Some people may be like, no, we're hearing a lot. I think we haven't really been hearing enough about what's really going on. I think we've been hearing a lot about to vaccinate or not vaccinate, and it kind of is taken away from like the real thing, the COVID disease that people are dealing with. So I have a guest with me today. Her name is Shamaria Brooks. I call her Mari. I've known her all her life. Well, maybe not all her life, but since she was a little bitty girl. But Mari is, I'm gonna have to let her tell you everything, but I know she's a Reiki 3 master, a yogi, and what else do you do, Mari?
I am, well, right now I'm studying to finish my naturopathic doctor degree. I was going for chiropractic, but I just found there was more of a need for natural medicine. So that's what I'm doing right now in Atlanta. So I'm doing that at Emory, and I also have a business. I have a medical office. So I'm a licensed laser technician, and I do M sculpting and cool sculpting and different natural therapies to kind of help people lose weight.
And you are a yogi. She does a lot of yoga, right? She does a lot
Yes.
of that. So that's pretty awesome. Okay, so the reason why I have invited Mari with us today is because Mari had the Delta variant of COVID, and she's going to tell us how she overcame it because I think this is like really important, and then she talks about the natural healing and things like that, but it's more than just natural stuff. Like it's a lot that has to go through with this. And then you made a statement, and I really want us to touch on it. You said it's a spiritual thing also. It's not just a physical thing. So let's talk about that part first. When you said it's a spiritual thing and not just a physical thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a spiritual thing because when I first got it, it was like my head hurt, my nose. That was the first thing that started really feeling different was my nose and my head. So it does attack your mucosa cells. That's why you lose your taste and your smell and all that. But what they're not talking about is your nervous system. It has to affect your nervous system. It's like sitting there. It's, you get a headache. Some people don't know they have symptoms, but throughout the whole process, like in the beginning, I was like, oh, I don't have it, and then I did have it. And then there was this defeat spirit that kind of came in. And my dad will tell you too, my dad had COVID, and he said there was nights where, it felt like somebody was choking him, and he was like, get off me, get off me. I had the same experience like 4 nights in a row. And it was like, when I knew nighttime was coming, I got scared because I knew that I'd have something weird happen in my sleep, or I would feel weird. Like something would just be telling me you're not going to make it. Like, you're not going to get through this. And I'm never like that. I'm always like, oh, I'm a fighter. I'm going to take every natural thing possible to make sure I can get rid of this. But it was like just a demonic spirit, like telling me that, you're weak. You can't breathe. You know, you're not going to get through this. And there was a few nights where I laid my head down on the pillow. I forgot to pray. And I laid my head down on the pillow and it felt like someone had pushed my head, like they were pushing my head down. And I tried to get up and it felt like someone was like sitting on my chest. Like I couldn't like breathe, you know? And that happened 4 nights in a row. And so I just started staging my house, praying. I told my pastor to pray for my house. I know he couldn't come to my house. So he just went to my door and put holy oil on my door. And, you know, he like prayed over me. But I was like, this is a spiritual virus too. Like it is a spiritual thing. And you're by yourself. There's nobody there to help you. You know, you are dealing with this on your own. And it's kind of like that spiritual battle too, that nobody sees, nobody knows what's going on. You're dealing with it on your own. And so, yeah, it was really hard. Like, you know, like I said, I never doubted that I could get over it. But when I had it, it was like something kept telling me, you're not going to make it. You can't do this. And at one point I was begging God to take my life. Like when I couldn't even reach my oxygen, I had got out the shower and all of a sudden I couldn't breathe and I knew my oxygen was dropping. And I was like, God, just take me. I can't do this anymore.
Really?
And I've never been like that before. So, but something came over me and was like, nope, go over there, take your oxygen, you know, breathe. But I was on the floor like, this is it. You know, I'm not even going to try. Like I passed out on the floor and something told me to get up and start crawling to your oxygen tank and put it on you. But yeah, it was definitely nothing I've ever experienced before. Very scary. And yeah, it's just, I didn't think that would ever happen to me, you know, like,
Right.
so.
Right. So let me just break down a couple of things that you said. So you said something came over you to go and get crawl to that oxygen. We all know that that was
The
Holy
Holy
Spirit.
Spirit. Yeah.
And for those of us that are metaphysics, because I say you are metaphysics, that was Spirit of God, Spirit of God in us coming up through you, telling you to go on and get what you need. But it's really interesting that you said because you are really healthy.
Yeah.
You have a good you probably have a great immune system.
Yeah.
It still attacked your body so viciously. Like so when people talk about oh it's fake that this COVID is fake. What do you say to them?
I get kind of upset and I'm just like, well, I already knew it wasn't fake because I was working in the hospital with patients. But for me, I thought, oh, it's never going to happen to a young person or a healthy person like me. But I usually just tell them like, you have no idea what is really out there. And I think me being exposed to it kind of opened up a lot of people's eyes because I do have a really strong immune system. I've been in rooms with patients who have like serious diseases like stage 10, like, you know, staph infections. I didn't go in there with no PPE, touching them and everything, and never got anything, you know. And so this time it was like, okay, even COVID, I never got COVID-19. I was working on a COVID unit for the whole year of COVID, never
Really?
contracted COVID. And then all of a sudden I'm with a client and she had Delta and then I get it. So I just
Wow.
tell people, you know, it's out here and you have to protect yourself. And this is a very serious thing. This is, I feel like, the next thing that's either going to take you or you're going to have to, you know, just be strong with it, you know?
Yeah. That is really interesting because I wish when COVID first came out, I just feel like and it had a lot to do with the president that was in it and just the playing down the disease, playing down, and like I'm not gonna even talk about the vaccination because I really still feel like it's not even about the vaccination. It's still about how people feel about the disease. And then because some people get it, and maybe not the Delta variant, because I haven't heard too many people with the Delta variant that didn't have a horror story. Even healthy people who are still with us today, it was very. But some people got the regular COVID-19, and it was just a breeze. They got it, and then they had a headache, they lost their and then they were fine 10 days later or whatever. So I think that it's a problem with it's been politicized that it's not that much. Oh, this is just the Democrats trying to do whatever, or it's been too politicized. That's the one thing I want to say. So as far as feeling like it being demonic and it's a spiritual attack, and it makes a lot of sense because like you said, it is a disease that isolates you. Unless your family got it together. But if only one person in the family got it, then you're isolated from them.
Yeah, you're by yourself.
So, it's like it's an isolation. And isolation, let's just say, isolation, in my opinion, is usually always bad. Unless you go and you isolate just for a little while to come apart for a little while, but for the most part, just a long period of isolation is usually not good for our psychological and our emotions, our emotional stuff. But there was another thing that stuck out for me. You said you crawled to your oxygen. Now let's just be clear. Everybody out there, that's not necessarily everybody has oxygen at their house. Am I right?
Yeah.
So do you feel like people have to have oxygen to like really, like if you get COVID and you go, you're going to the doctor, the hospital, and then most of the time, if you've been vaccinated and you aren't real bad, they're going to send you home. But they're not sending people home with oxygen. So how you got oxygen because you are what?
Yeah. So I have oxygen because I'm a nurse also. So I was able to access that supply to be able to buy it. And I'm very fortunate because I know people who are my age or in their 30s who have passed away recently because they had COVID and they were sent home. And they're like, oh, your oxygen is fine. You can battle it at home. And some of them don't make it, So I was fortunate enough to have that at my fingertips. I have a lot of stuff at my fingertips because I'm very in tune with natural healing properties and different machines that you can get into and use. But it really just disheartens me, when I think about people that don't have oxygen at their house and the hospitals that are just sending people home, and then you hear about them dropping, because COVID. And really it's because they had lack of care, lack of oxygen at their house. They're not being treated properly. There's different things that you can do that I started to realize after that I could have done, but
so we definitely need to, because that's what I wanted this to be about. Like, so for the people listening, what are some of the things that you feel like you need if you get this Delta variant?
I'm going to definitely say number one, if you think that you don't have a strong immune system, I'm not going to say I'm like an advocate to go get the vaccine, but, I didn't have any antibodies. So if you've never had it and you know that you're not really good with fighting viruses and disease, you're just not really good with flu, you don't do well with it, you may have some other even if you're healthy, and you don't do well with sickness or colds and you haven't had COVID yet, I would highly consider the vaccine, but I'm not going to tell you to go get it. Because some people want to try a natural route. If you don't get the vaccine, do know that you need to be megadosing on vitamins every day. When I say megadose, I mean megadosing. I was megadosing, and I think that's what prevented me from getting COVID in the first place. But I stopped for like 6 months. I just stopped cold turkey taking so many vitamins. I just took one vitamin. I went from taking 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day, 10,000 IUs of vitamin D, to just taking a small multivitamin that had like 500 IUs or maybe 500 milligrams of vitamin C. So that was a big drop, so my immune system was real high up. It had all the antioxidants it needed, all the vitamins. And then I just stopped taking all of them because I'm like, I'm good. I'm
Right.
good.
So
I don't
you
need to
know
take
what?
all of this.
Man, because when you talk about mega dosing, I'm thinking like, oh, I hate taking just one pill, but taking a lot. I mean, and that's why a lot of people don't, because the foods that we eat aren't saturated with the vitamins like it used to be either. So we do
Mm-hmm.
almost have to mega dose. But hold that thought. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk more about what a mega dose actually looks like for those of you who do not want to take the vaccine. We are, because we're not telling you what to do, but we're like, okay, if you're not going to do this, then you may want to do this. So don't leave. Come right back. We'll be right back.
Like,
Mr. Happy Living here. I love good things made for good people. That's why I love Happy Living's online e-course. It's an 8-week long deep dive into you and the inspired life you want to live. The life you were put here on this earth to live. The one that you and only you can live. 8 weeks of lectures and ideas and topics and supporting materials and powerful self-improvement tools. All designed for you. All designed to help you create the tools and the power and the confidence you need to discover your purpose and to discover the life you were meant to live and to feel incredibly inspired and motivated to decide you will live your life to its fullest. It's all designed to help you create the unique and distinct philosophy of you and your inspired life. Go to happyliving.com, select our e-course, and save $100 with promo code WYTV7. And for every enrollment, I'll donate another $100 to WITV7. For $300 and about 30 hours, I promise you'll never, ever be the same again.
We're back with Mari, and we left talking about mega dosing. So I need Mari to go back and tell us, to mega dose, how much vitamins do we have to have?
so I'm going to say this first. I'm not a doctor or anything, but I have worked with a lot of them. And you probably should consult one before you take a whole bunch of stuff.
Good job.
'Cause
Good job.
there's, yeah, because there are like, certain medications that you can't take too high a dose of vitamins. So we'll talk about the fat soluble and then the water soluble. Fat soluble vitamins are going to be your vitamin D, your vitamin E, anything that's kind of like in a gel capsule. Your body basically can store it for a long period of time. So you don't want, so let's say you make too much vitamin D, you don't want to take an overdose on the vitamin D, or vitamin E or whatever. Vitamin A is also fat soluble, but those are, you don't really need those for this. The mega dose ones are the water soluble ones that I'm talking about. Those, your body needs them every single day. Whatever your body doesn't need, you'll excrete through your urine or, your fecal matter or whatever.
Right.
Vitamin C, you need to be taking at least, don't sound crazy to people, at least 10,000 milligrams a day.
Some mega dose if you don't want to take the vaccine.
Yes. And now people are like, how can I take 10,000? This capsule is only 1,000. Well, you can get the powder form. Make sure it's absorbic acid, not calcium, because calcium, it causes buildup in the body and the blood. So you want to make sure it's absorbic acid. That's the good vitamin C. Get the powder form and just put scoops of it. Do 5 scoops in the morning, 5 scoops in the afternoon or in the evening. There you go. That's 10,000 milligrams right there. Now the pill might be harder, but take powder's better.
Wow. But I do want to say, I want to go back to, because vitamin D, because vitamin D is fat soluble. So you really do need to consult your doctor. And I'm going to tell everybody under the sound of my voice, if you have a doctor, if you don't have a doctor, get a doctor.
Yeah.
That's what, look, I don't like to call it Obamacare, but I mean, that's what it's for. Go get you go get you a doctor, because you need to find out how much vitamin D. I can guarantee you that most Black people are vitamin D deficient.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us are vitamin D deficient. It's really weird, but most of us are vitamin D deficient. And if you go to the doctor and you take a blood test, they're probably going to give you a 50,000 unit tablet for you to take every week because you're that vitamin D deficient. I'm
Yeah.
not lying. I'm
Yeah.
not lying. We know we laugh about vitamin D, because it means something else in the hood.
Mm-hmm. Right, like vitamin D. I'll just go outside, or I'll do this with my man. Like, no, real vitamin D.
Right. But vitamin D, I've heard, of nurses and other people, they have definitely said that vitamin D is something that we need. And the lack of vitamin D is one of the reasons why COVID hit us kind of harder because we were vitamin D deficient. So vitamin D is something that you definitely need a lot of, but you can't have too much of it. That's why you need to go to a doctor so they can do your blood work and they can tell you how much, and then they can kind of, so you don't overdo it. But I can guarantee you that most people, if y'all go out and get some vitamin D, like the regular kind, if y'all take that, y'all will probably be all right, and you probably need to.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I will say me personally, I had to do at least 10,000 IUs. And usually when you buy the vitamin D, I buy it in the dropper. So like usually, it'll say 5 drops is 500 IUs. So I'll take like enough to equal the 10,000. So it's really about what you can do. If you're not a pill person, get the powder, get the drops. Like that's going to be better for you, and it's easier to intake. Because sometimes taking all those pills is a lot. Like I can take a lot of pills, but it's a lot.
I tell you, it's a lot. I hate it. But so I want to go back to also, you said, well, you just went down to doing 1 vitamin a day. I know for a fact there's somebody watching or somebody listening that don't take vitamins. Mm-hmm. Take a daily vitamin. If you don't do anything else, please start taking the daily vitamin, because at least you're getting something in your system. And yes, we should do the vitamin C, but also this is the season. It's a lot of little oranges out there right now. Those are the Clementine. I'm not getting no money from them, so I'm not going to take to it. But go get you some oranges and eat. You know how they used to say an apple a day?
Keeps the dark, yeah.
I want to eat a couple of oranges a day.
Right, exactly.
To keep the COVID away. Or at least for it to not. I'm just going to be real with y'all out there. I got vaccinated. Well, I got vaccinated because I believe I'm okay with vaccinations. I've been getting vaccinations all my life to go to school, so I didn't feel like it was an issue. I'm not going to politicize it. You don't have to get it if you don't want to. I got it, but then I also got it because I like to travel, and I travel free and I travel often. So I was gonna get vaccinated because if they say you need the vaccine card, got it. Let's go.
Right.
But I also know for a fact that I don't like to be sick because I don't do well with sickness. So the vaccine was very important to me. But I also not just got the vaccine and like, oh, I got the vaccine, so it's all right. I still wear my mask. I still social distance. I'm not all up in people's face. I don't, what I'm saying? I'm still kind of doing the things, and I'm still taking my vitamins. I'm eating more oranges. I'm not overeating and eating the wrong food because I know being overweight is a problem. So I'm trying to do all the stuff. Being vaccinated is not you get vaccinated and don't worry about it. No.
Mm-hmm.
No. People that's vaccinated dying too.
Yeah.
That have been vaccinated are dying too. And so you can't just do one or the other. You got to do it all because you want to be healthy. You want to be alive. But let me talk a little bit about what else you do. So you teach people to cleanse from within. So that's why you talk a lot about detoxes and what. So tell people about that.
Yeah, so detoxing is important. And again, I stopped detoxing. I think that's another reason why I got Delta. I just was working so much and eating fries. I I don't eat meat. So I would be like, oh yeah, just get some fries. I'll get a large fry and I'll be good. I'm taking my vitamin, you know. So getting oil, fatty oils, processed, that oil is in there with other stuff all day and you're eating all that stuff. So it's a carcinogen, you know, but detoxing is really important because if you look at, let's say example, I like to use a frying pan example. If you fry some chicken in that pan and you rinse it out with water and you let it sit on the counter, it's going to look kind of nasty the next day. And a couple more days don't look nasty. And then you try and clean it off and you got to scrub all that stuff off. And it doesn't come off. So you got to put soap on it and scrub it. Imagine your colon, you know, we're like, oh, I'm going to just drink water. Or I'm just going to, I don't know, exercise. There's still grime. There's still a whole bunch of yeast, bacteria sitting in your colon walls. It's just sitting there. And then on top of it, there's this invader that comes in, a virus or bacteria, and you get sick and it's harder for your body to fight it off because you have all this stuff in your colon. So I think people should detox at least once a month to try and like a heavy detox. Like that means fasting. Some people can't fast and do just water. I recommend try to do apple cider vinegar and lemon and cayenne pepper and do that for at least 3 days. So some people can't do that because I know some people work, you know, and they need the energy. So you can't do that. Do fruit and veggies, and do not cook them. No oil, no salt, just fruit and veggies. Like in the morning, you'll have a watermelon. You could do half a watermelon, or you could do 5 apples and do your cayenne pepper, apple cider vinegar, water. Okay. And take that with you and try to drink a gallon of the apple cider vinegar, water, lemon for the whole day. And, you know, throughout the day, bring fruit, bring apples, pears, oranges, clementines. Just don't eat anything that's processed, no salt, nothing with oil on it, only raw fruits and vegetables for at least 3 days. I guarantee you, your body will start releasing stuff from your colon. So that's the natural way to do it.
That's the natural way. Okay.
Yeah. Now, if some people, if they don't want to really give up eating and they can't really fast, I have like a supplement I tell people to take. Or you can get a supplement over the counter, like a colon cleanser or something like that. But you can do that for a full month and then stop, you know, and you can eat what you want. But I think it's better to do it the natural way for 3 days, kind of give yourself a clean start. And then for the rest of the month, just try to eat clean, you know, and eventually you'll start detoxing and it'll help regulate your body, you know.
And that also will help us to fight COVID because people, it's not going nowhere. I just heard it's a whole different variant or something that is. So we just need to, you know, it's not to be afraid of COVID and be afraid to get out, but we need to do better about what we put in and to cleanse from within and to build up our immune system and just help our bodies, because God has created our bodies wonderfully and amazing. The reason why most of our bodies can't handle stuff is because all the gunk we have up in it. So detoxing, and I'm not saying give up stuff, because I'm one of the people, Mari, life is too short for me to give up what I like.
Yeah.
But 3 days, I could probably do it. Or like you said, if we take the pills, then we might have to take the pills for a month while we eating what we eating, but it's still something that we can do. We have got to go. I didn't realize we had been on it. We have been talking for this long. The last thing I want to say, because I saw something that you had posted about forgiveness, and you must be on the same thing. Forgiveness will unforgiveness will keep you sick. So one thing that you should do at the end of the night, forgive the people that made you mad. Forgive yourself for allowing them to make you mad. Do a nightly forgiveness ritual, because when you talk about detox, that unforgiveness is the first thing you need to detox yourself from.
Yeah.
And I know I saw that on your bio. I was like, we gotta talk about it. I know you like that, but we gotta go. So we're gonna have to come back at another time, maybe at the beginning of the year, to tell people how to get their, you know, things started if they didn't listen to us today, and then maybe they'll be ready to listen to us in January. Thank you so much. And for everybody out there, I hope you learned something, even if it's the one thing I learned that I need to find one of my aunties or somebody that's got some oxygen, so I can just tell them, make sure you keep the oxygen.
On deck. Oxygen on deck at everybody's house.
Everybody got an auntie that's got some oxygen. Anyway, y'all, until next week. Next week I'm gonna actually do my raise recap, and guess where I'm gonna be? I'm gonna be out of the country, and I'm gonna do a raise recap out of the country, and I'm gonna send it so you guys can kind of be with me. But until next week, take your vitamins. Get some vitamin D. Go to the doctor to find out if you're deficient in it. And until next week, be blessed.